a lot of controversy surrounded the Jeepers Creepers movies when everybody suddenly found out that Victor Salva was a raging pervert.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I didn't give a fuck. It literally been fucking decades at that point since the guy did that shit. He's been living a straight life ever since then. And yes, it's atrocious what he did. But I got no hang-ups. I'm going to watch the fucking movie. And Jeepers Creepers 1 was a pretty damn good movie. And you know what? I actually really enjoyed Jeepers Creepers 2. So I was kind of excited for Jeepers Creepers 3. And my excitement went kind of down the wayside because all of a sudden those protesters came out of the woodworks again. And they were like, we don't want to see this fucking shit anywhere in theaters. So ultimately the movie ended up getting a one-day release. And I didn't get to see it that one day because reasons. Hashtag I'm poor as fuck.
Yep.
But I'm kind of glad I didn't go all the way to a theater, hunt this fucker out, and watch it that one day. Because you know what? Jeepers Creepers 3 kind of fucking stinks. So here's the thing about Jeepers Creepers 3. If you haven't seen recently part 1 or 2, you're going to be like in a world of confusion immediately. You're going to be like, what the fuck's going on? Why can I not remember this guy? What am I missing here? You know, they just kind of throw you into the mix of things. If you have seen them recently, or alternatively, once you finish seeing the movie, you're like, okay, now I know where my bearings are at. Let me go rewatch it again. Oh wait, I don't want to. The point is, if you're going to see this thing, if you're going to torture yourself, then I recommend you see part 1, then see this one, that is to say Jeepers Creepers 3, then see part 2. Because that is the correct order to see them, and it's a good to refresh your memory about certain characters and circumstances that happen. Because, again, it it literally picks up right after the first one. And, you know, that could be good or bad, and in this case, it was iffy. Again, the confusing factor kind of took me by the wayside a little bit until I got my bearings. But there's something that's unignorable, and that's that fucking people got old. You know what I'm saying? They were already old in the fucking first movie. Now they're just ancient, looking like saggy bags. Yep. But I can forgive that, you know? That's okay. You can forgive that.
Saggy bags?
I mean, they're old geezers. Now they're like ancient geezers. But to spare you having to see this movie, the concept basically is the same night of hunting. It picks up right after part 1. And our little black bounty hunter, whose name I forgot, is on the trail of
Babatunde?
Not Babatunde. Is on the trail of the creeper as he makes his way upstate. Okay, fair enough. It pretty much throws you into the action right away. But at the same time that you're getting that continuation of the story from part 1, you're introduced to a set of characters in the neighboring town, which eventually is where the creeper ends up. One of which is this older woman that apparently has had an encounter with the creeper in the past. And she's kind of on the other side of sane, you know. She's one of those people that you'd consider the crazy lady that lives alone with her cats type of character, you know. And she has a granddaughter that lives with her, and they're kind of the focus of the accompanying storyline. And eventually these two paths end up meeting via the creeper, you know, as he is coming to this town where this lady lives, because apparently this lady has something that it wants, and it's buried in her backyard, and the ghost of her son took it from the creeper somewhere along the way.
What?
And he is talking to her and telling her that it's coming and that she better leave. So that's your basic setup. We're picking up the action from part 1, and this lady has something that the creeper wants, and she's in his path. All right, fair enough. The thing is, you get a little prologue at the beginning of the movie that is part of that lady's storyline, and basically tells you what the creeper wants. It's his fucking hand. There, spoiler alert. It's his fucking hand he wants. I don't even understand how the fuck he lost the hand. Because at the beginning of the movie, they show this prologue that happened 23 years prior. The creeper's on the hunt. He picks up some fucking asshole, takes him up into the air. Some other dude is in his truck, and he's looking up, and a hand falls.
What?
And later you find out that's the creeper's hand, and he wants it because touching the hand gives you insight into the into the creeper's backstory. It lets you know his weaknesses. It lets you know what he is, from whence he comes, his history.
For some reason.
Yeah. Now, if we know the creeper replaces his body parts, replenishes them, so presumably this is his actual original hand. Presumably, it's not explained. That's the thing. You're like, hasn't the creeper been around for fucking thousands of years already, or hundreds even? Does he still have the original? Even if it's not his original hand, you're like, what the fuck? When did he lose the hand? I don't understand. How did he take this human up into the sky and we just see the hand drop? When was the hand cut? With what? I don't understand how this hand fucking fell. Maybe I missed something. I don't know what the fuck. But this fucking hand falls. Anyway, that's what the creeper wants. Blah, blah, blah. That eventually is picked up halfway into the movie. But up until that point, you basically don't get a creeper movie. You get a truck movie. That's right. Horror movie centered around a fucking truck.
Maximum Overdrive?
Well, I mean, to be fair,
bad.
It's better than Maximum Overdrive. I'll give it that much.
Kaka is better than Maximum
Overdrive. The thing is, there is no precedent for this fucking truck functioning the way it does. Now, I'll grant you that from part 1 to 3, which is actually part 2, if you want to get technical, you just didn't get exposed that much to the truck in part 1, so you could argue we just didn't know that aspect of the creeper yet. But there's already been a part 2!
That his truck is alive.
I mean, it's not alive. I hope not. It seems like it's sentient.
I'm assuming this plays better in the movie because it sounds ludicrous.
I'm assuming it's supposed to be booby trapped, and or the creeper is some supernatural being and is controlling this supernatural. But it seemed a lot more technical. It seemed a lot more like it was booby trapped. But it has some very convenient booby traps. I'll just say that. Either way, whether it's sentient or it's booby trapped, the traps are far too convenient. I.e., it launches a spear that somehow hunts people down and drags them back. You know, it waits for that right moment despite not having some sort of sensor to just chomp down on you. The truck is basically fucking alive. Even if it's not supposed to be alive, you're like, what the fuck is this truck doing all this shit? How does it have precisely the trap you need in this one specific moment in this one specific area?
I can't get over that. That sounds ludicrous. Again, it might play fine. I haven't seen this movie, so I'm along for the ride.
It plays
in a booby truck.
Yeah, booby truck. It plays okay, but you begin to wonder
what the hell is this truck?
What is up with this truck? Why haven't I not seen this before? Fair enough. It's technically this is part 2, but I've already seen part 3, which is actually part 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've already seen Jeepers Creepers 2, which is actually part 3. And that nothing of this was ever mentioned. So we're expected to just believe this truck is super badass all of a sudden. And apparently it's super smart somehow. Even though it's just booby traps, I think. I don't know what the fuck with this truck is what I'm saying. But it depends far too much on the truck for you to allow your belief to be suspended. You're just kind of like,
this truck is like your end all be all.
It's a more efficient hunter than the fucking creeper, man.
So that's good.
You hardly see the creeper and you're like, damn, man. Also, I gotta say, this is kind of like a 50-50 split for me. When you do see the creeper, he rarely does shit because he's away hunting and you're stuck with a truck and people encountering the truck.
Oh, man.
But when you do see him, I will give Salva a tip of the hat in terms of being kind of brave, I guess, as far as this thing goes, in choosing to film the movie in the daylight. This movie is shot entirely in the daylight, with the exception of the final sequence. So basically, effects are just balls out in front of you. And, they had to resort to a lot of CGI in this. So that was risky. I'll give them props for taking the risk. It works well enough. I was never too off on the effects as far as the creeper went. Yeah, his wings are fake as fuck. Yeah, they're not entirely convincing, but it was never off-putting. So I'll give him props for that. It just makes me wonder, why didn't he shoot this at night? I mean, I know why. It's still the same day of the hunt, so technically he couldn't. But I mean, come on, man. Stretch it out a little here.
Could have had a different story to accommodate.
Yeah, you really could have. Because, fuck, man. Now you're just stuck in the daylight. And you're going to put yourself out there like this. But whatever. You could have saved yourself a lot of agony in terms of the effects. if he would have shot at night. But it's fine. It's fine. They're never offensively bad. In fact, he uses this approach where he does a switch between a normal pace and a more slow-mo pace. And it's always during action sequences. And it really works to make them look different, unique to this movie. And it really makes the Creeper look cooler than he really should. Also, by the way, the Creeper has a different shirt in this.
What?
So between part 1 and 2, which is actually 3, there's a fucking shirt change. And now he has a red shirt. Unless I'm missing something.
No, he had a red shirt in the original.
Alright.
It was dark red. Like really dark red.
Okay, then this fucking shirt is like the brightest fucking red of all time.
Yeah,
let me just say,
shirt.
He visited the laundromat.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Cleaned the shirt up.
Or he went to Hot Topic, said, give me the vampire red shirt. That's the one I want.
They gave it to him. He's like, oh, it's too bright. Oh, well, it's Jeepers Creepers 3. No one cares.
Yeah. It was noticeable, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other two, I didn't notice. And again, darkness helped. This one was like, damn, man, this fucker got some red-ass shirt. For a creature that's been around for that long, this shirt is like top-notch quality shirt. It's bright as shit.
He's really good at washing his shirts.
He's efficient, apparently. Anyway,
maybe his truck has like a washing machine in there, and he popped it in there.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Apparently, it's the most convenient truck.
Well, I wouldn't be fucking surprised, man. Probably doesn't even have an engine. It's just the washer dryer set in there. Anyway, this fucking truck is just basically your bad guy for most of the movie. And anyway, long story short, it comes down to this. This is what keeps you watching this movie. One, the hunters that you were, or actually the hunter that you were introduced to in part 1, he's cool. So you want to watch it for him. 2, you want to know what the mystery of this fucking thing is. It keeps teasing you about the origins of the Creeper. That you're going to know something. That something's going to be revealed. That to touch this hand, this item of his, will open up
very convenient hand
weaknesses, will open up explanations to what exactly the Creeper is. Now, we've assumed a lot about the Creeper in the movies, but this was like teasing this fucking hardcore. You're gonna get some fucking answers. So that's what kept me hanging on. And again, you know, the action's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? You keep on whatever things you have against it, you kind of put them to the side and go, okay, well, there's a payoff to this. There's a reason for this. So yeah, it gets to that fucking point. By the way, they introduced something else. The hunter from part 1, he apparently has a group of hunters, all of which have been previously victimized by the Creeper. But it's unclear as fuck. Now, the hunter had a relationship with the cops in the first one. So, you know, you get that. You get why the cops are lenient around him, and of course, you know, his involvement with law enforcement. But he has an entire, like, fucking cadre of people with him. And they're Creeper hunters. They even have, like, a little emblem on them. You know, they've grouped together. They've come together over the years, apparently. And they're there to destroy the Creeper. And they're willing to help this guy. The thing is, you're like, we never see these guys again. We didn't see them before. Fine enough. We'll go with it. But what are they, though? The cops are like, yeah, okay, you guys go ahead and run all over these crime scenes and roll in with your massive guns on top of trucks. I guess that's okay. Oh, yeah, you're hunting a supernatural beast from beyond the grave?
We saw his truck.
Yeah, you never understand who these people are. You know who they are, but you don't know what their authority position is. Yeah. Because apparently they could just run roughshod on any fucking law enforcement. So anyway, whatever. That's a fucking thing. And one of the weapons, by the way, is just a ripoff of the massive hook in part 2, which is actually part 3. This is so confusing. But anyway, so you're like, that's just the Gatling gun version of the hook in Jeepers Creepers 2. I guess. So now you're upstating your own movie, then calling it part 3 when it's actually part 2. Should have called it like Jeepers Creepers 1.5 or some shit.
Like Jeepers Creepers
the
beginning. Or not even the beginning. Yeah, in-between.
Because that's the thing.
Jeepers Creepers, now it's a truck, I guess. That film.
Let's forget about the truck. Let's forget about these confusing ass people that I guess are fucking sort of cops, but they're hunters also. I don't understand. But anyway, let's get to the meat of this. You want this mystery to be solved. You want to know what this hand is revealing. Okay, and the first time we get the hint of it is, well, really the first hint you get is that the creeper's coming for it. And that this woman is afraid of what this might imply. But the first real shot of adrenaline this movie gets is when the woman herself touches the hand. And by touches the hand, I mean the hand grabs her, basically, because it's still alive. Anyway, doesn't it replace its body parts because they're dying? Anyway, whatever. It's still a fucking live. It grabs her hand. It pulls her up into the air. Her eyes, kind of gloss over. They're white. And she sees something. And she's shook as fuck. So by the time the hunters get there, the black guy hunter, the head hunter himself, he's like, yo, bitch, I know you. I'm back. What's up? We're going to kill some fucking
creepies,
bats out of hell. And she's like, I got this here hand. You probably shouldn't touch it because, it's what it wants and it's going to show you shit. So, of course, he wants to see it. And, of course, we want to see it. So they've already teased this and made it seem like some big fucking news were dropped on her. So I'm like, cool.
Hell yeah, I'm going to see this shit.
Yeah, you're like, he's going to touch it and we're going to get to see flashes of it.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah. He touches it and guess what? The same thing happens to him. You don't see shit. You just see his eyes roll back, the same process that she goes through, he goes through. And then I'm like, all right, well, we didn't see flashes. Well, this is a low-budget movie. We'll maybe get some exposition. He'll maybe say it. That's fine enough. That works wonderfully sometimes. Your imagination can take you places. Nope. Doesn't say jack fucking shit about anything. He's just like, yep.
That's spooky.
That information is super helpful. Fuck, we're fucked. This guy's a threat. We already knew that, asshole. You already knew that. Can you please tell us something? Oh, and then there's his hunters. They're like, we're next. Let's cut away from that because an attack happened, and they're like, oh god, we got to get over there to that attack place. That's right, attack place. We got to get over to the scene of the crime with the creeper. Let's go and worry about this hand later. So you're like, all right. So they're just holding out. We're like, okay. We're gonna see it later. Yeah. This is, it's keeping me involved. All right, I'll give you credit. So they go off and attack the fucking creeper, and the little attack sequence is pretty cool. There's some cheap ass CGI in it, but it's pretty decent. 2 of the hunters are killed, but then you remember there was like a whole fucking group of them. There was easily like 20 of them. Where the fuck are the rest of the hunters? You never see them again. Right. 2 of them get killed. Well, that's 2 of the group. The main hunters get killed too, but the black guy but 2 of the group get killed. But there was a group of like easily 15 to 20 people. Where the fuck did they go? You never see them again. Your black guy's dead, and he was the coolest thing in the movie. So now you're left with the old crazy woman, which is like kind of the second coolest thing. She was cool because the actress was really good. She didn't do shit, but she was really good. And I kept on remembering that was supposed to be Adrienne Barbeau playing her.
Barbeau.
So that alone made me go, this is a good replacement for Barbeau. But really, there is no replacement for Barbeau. So I would have liked to see...
Unless you get a Barbeau bot.
Unless you get a Barbeau bot. Best replacement for a Barbeau because they're still young and don't look like evil Ernie. Yeah. But there is no Barbeau. There's this old hag, and she's good. She's good at hagging it out.
On the hag meter, the patent pending TDS hag meter, how good is it?
She's a solid 7 hag. And she would have been higher if she was like an actual witch or something like that. But she's not. She's just a crazy old woman.
Old lady.
And but she's a good hag. Cantankerous, aloof, very old and ugly. So she's good on the hag meter. But the point is, you kind of hold on for her and what this reveal might be. Okay, so fine. Well enough. A bunch of action happens. It's serviceable, and you're kind of still holding on for this big reveal. The creeper finally makes his way to the farm. He's going to go get this fucking hand, which they've already dug up, of course. He walks up to the farm, up to this hill where the hand was buried, and there is the hand nailed to a piece of cardboard, no less. Why would you have to nail it? Just lay it on the cardboard. It's fucking cardboard. Yeah. Anyway, you nail it to a piece of cardboard and says, "We know what you are." And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, there's going to be a little confrontation. Creeper meets old hag. It's going to be cool. She's going to say, finally, what's up with this fucking creeper. Maybe we'll get a little flash here and there.
Maybe she'll suddenly be a witch and there's going to be like a hag battle.
Something's going to happen. with this hag and the creeper.
The truck's gonna be explained. Anything.
So yeah, something's gonna happen. Is the point here? Anyway, the creeper sees this taunt. He screams, falls to his knees, and screams to the skies, 80s style. And I gotta say, it looked really nice. There's, well, I'll get to that right now. The shot looked really cool. He's screaming, and all those, crows and shit that follow him around, they start raining down from the sky dead. And it looks really neat. And I'm like, oh man, we're gonna look creeper, creeper face off,
no heck,
hag, creep. I'm stoked.
Truck.
It's gonna finally pay off. This whole mess is gonna finally pay off. And then guess what happens? That's it. It cuts to the next fucking week or some shit, and our main characters, the hag's daughter or granddaughter, and her boyfriend are like, hey man, that was an epic event we went through, right? Ooh. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm headed off to some football game, and then you're like, oh, that's one of the guys in the school bus from Jeepers Creepers 2. Cool. Ooh. I guess that's cool. What about the hag? What about the creeper? What did he do? He just gave up? What the fuck, man? There was no fucking ending to this shit. So that's all said and done. That's literally how it ends. And then we have kind of a little coda ending. And the coda ending, the tacked on ending, if you will, is this. It's a flash forward to 23 years later, and it's the sister of the main character that got killed in part 1.
What?
And she's saying, the creeper's going to come back. We better be ready for him. That's it. And I'm like,
oh, man.
What the fuck is going on here? First of all, they've killed the creeper in part 2.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for his inevitable return later in part 2. So basically, you just ripped off your own ending from part 2 because they feel that he's going to come back. But here you've just verified that he's going to come back. So I suppose the implication was supposed to be that whatever the secret is has to do with maybe there's more creepers, maybe I don't know, because you never get the fucking answer, man. You never get a stank answer about this bullshit. Just some fucking creeper screaming at the skies, little crows falling around and shit.
A little Seinfeld.
So this movie just pissed me off by the end. It's not horrible. It's just why?
It doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't even feel good in between the two movies.
It's pointless.
It's pointless. It's utterly pointless. And the biggest mistake is that they didn't even bother to, even in exposition, reveal the slightest iota of what that fucking thing was, what they learned about him. Nothing. So you've gained nothing. We're in the exact same place we started and ended already.
Except you added some weird elements that just make it more confusing.
Yes, except now he has a badass truck from God knows where.
For some damn
snazzy new shirt.
For some reason you're time hopping back and forth, confusing the shit out of me.
I don't understand what the fuck this movie was supposed to be, but it is ultimately, despite being an acceptable thing to watch, it's ultimately a complete waste of fucking time. It's not offensively bad. None of the actors are bad. The effects are serviceable to good. It's just, why does this exist? I think this is worse than a bad movie because it has no point. It serves no purpose. It reveals nothing. It advances nothing. It actually takes you back and makes you go, why the fuck did I ever watch this shit? So it sucks is what I'm saying. It's not good, man. I was hoping it was going to be at least decent.
Yeah.
But now there's some pros to this movie. There's some, like I said, like that shot with the creeper. There's some really nice shots. Victor Salva, if anything, has an eye for nice shots, and they look great. Some of them. There's a confrontation in the daylight, and despite the creeper being CGI Wing City, there's a confrontation between him and some of the hunters that looks pretty fucking badass. And there's just some nice shots in here that in a better movie would have really complimented it, but instead here you're just going, there's something that could have been here, and instead what we get is a bunch of old sacks trying to look like how they looked 10, 15 years ago, and a half-assed conclusion to part 1, and a tacked on part 2 ending, or beginning, and a bunch of nothing about the fucking creeper. The fuck is he, man? Anyway, avoid this movie at all costs. Stick to Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. The only way this movie will ever be acceptable is if there's another one that continues it and or reveals what the fuck is up with that hand.
That's the thing. That dude apparently wanted to make several Jeepers films. But I don't think that's ever going to happen, dude. So maybe you should have done something with this one.
Here's the thing. Victor Salva, you barely got Jeepers Creepers 2 out. People are already on your ass about that shit.
Technically, you failed at getting it out because it barely came out.
Yeah.
Like you said, it didn't even get theatrical. It was a failed release by all.
I'm talking Jeepers Creepers 2. He barely got that out. And years later...
3 is what I was talking about.
Yeah, you're finally getting 3, and it took a lot to even get that out. And you had a fucking debut in, like, one fucking theater, apparently. And Sci-Fi Channel, of all places. You know, that's telling you something.
It was a failed release.
You should have known from the reception that Part 2 got, from all your critics, that you weren't going to get a series. And considering that you had written a movie called Bat Out of Hell, which was an origin story set in the West, you should have gone with a rewrite of that. Because you weren't going to get the money for a Western. But you should just rewritten that and actually given us an origin instead of going, hey, everybody hates me, but I'll get this series approved. No, you're not going to get a series approved, you fool! Now we have nothing! You've revealed nothing to me! Shit! This is one of my favorite movie characters as far as horror goes, and now you've made him uncool as fuck. Thankfully, I can just ignore the shit out of this movie, which I will, unless we get miraculously a fucking...
How do you
Because you know what? Let me tell you this.
How do you lose his hand, though?
I don't know how he fucking lost his hand, dude. He just flies the fuck up and all of a sudden his hand drops.
I just want to throw some gasoline on the flame with
Shit, man.
with that hand thing.
Maybe, okay, it's in the intro, so I'll have you watch that and you can tell me. Maybe I missed something, but I don't know. How the fuck do you lose a hand?
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever
How does the creeper lose a hand?
The point is, I could see this movie being a good pilot episode to a television series, but that's it. As its own thing, it's jack fucking shit. So anyway, that's my fucking thoughts on this bullshit ass sequel, /prequel, /sequel to a movie that already exists. Ugh.
It's on Netflix if you want to see it, though you probably shouldn't.
If you want to be enraged, see this fucking movie. Anyway, Zahab, that's a goon tick. I'm about to go take a chill pill. I'm out. Hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons. A fucking hand.
Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Anything goes inside the night, woke up with corpulent Jews. Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you.